Good morning. In this video, I wish to talk about an important dimension of the rapidly worsening situation in the Middle East. This relates to the management of perceptions in the current Hamas Israel conflict. Besides the day and night reporting that is ongoing in most media channels across the world of the death and destruction of this conflict centered around the Gaza Strip and also within Israel, there is a parallel narrative that is developing in the mind space of the global community. Perceptions, perceptions are being continuously created or altered through the use of media, both social and traditional, with visuals, narrations, interviews, etc. These, in most instances, border on justifying the actions of either party. Reporting of the death and destruction on both sides of this conflict, as well as the past and present historical context and ground realities of the decades long Israel Palestinian struggle, are building narratives and shaping perceptions. However, most of these narratives that are being put out are not helping to find resolutions to the present conflagration and bringing peace, but only contribute to widening the divide of this decades old problem, with certainty of further mayhem and bloodshed in the years to come. Self appointed sponsors of the Palestinian cause glibly justify the present brutality of the Hamas as justifications to the Palestinian cause. Conversely, the Israeli camp also, predominantly the West, conspicuously narrate only one side of the conflict. Israel is well justified in protecting its people and seeking retribution for the dastardly acts, depravity, and inhuman conduct of the Hamas against innocent civilians, violating all norms of warfare. Equally culpable are those members of the Palestinian public of Gaza if they have indulged in rape, murder, and incapacitation of innocents alongside the Hamas. All of them, along with the Hamas, need to be brought to justice. That much said, while the conflict would at some stage grind down to a stalemate or even an inconsequential victory that may be claimed by either party, what would endure thereafter is the perception that would have formed amongst the global community of which side carries the burden of culpability for the inhuman acts that were conducted in this war. This perception would have a tremendous long term impact in the geopolitics of the region. Much as the whole country is justifiably in a retribution mode, Israel needs to also look at the long term perspective of where it would like itself to be seen, both during and at the end of this war. This is where Israel would need to, by the actions of the Israeli Defense Forces, be seen as conducting a just war while taking all possible measures to protect the lives of innocent civilians in Gaza. This is where strategic management of perceptions assumes importance throughout their operational phase in Gaza. They would need to be seen by the global community as the victim and also be seen as protectors and saviors of innocent civilians in the war zone in this conflict. From an Israeli standpoint, linking of the historical baggage of the Palestinian Israeli conflict must be contested, as this will not help in indicting the Hamas for their present crimes and in the mid to long term, isolating the Hamas from the Palestinian people. Managing of perceptions in the immediate term must therefore be limited to the present war and nothing back into the past. At the other end, the high handedness of Israel that the Palestinians have been facing, both in the Gaza Strip and West Bank, has given way to blind justification of the present bloodbath by the Hamas amongst the Palestinian diaspora across the world as just actions. This sentiment is incited and built upon by the sponsor states of the Hamas for their own vested interests against the state of Israel. This is where the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank has to show courage by dissociating itself from the depredations of the Hamas in the present conflict, as also in their inhuman and violent methods. They must realize that the Hamas has pauperized generations of Palestinians. Adverse circumstances bring up opportunities too. This is one such moment which needs to be seized by the Palestinian Authority. The call has to be taken by the present leadership, ignoring fears to their personal selves, in the larger interest of the community. Work has to start within the West Bank, where, as an immediate first step, open display of solidarity with the present actions of the Hamas has to be discouraged through well conceived themes. A difficult call, though, under the present circumstances, but one that must be taken. The long standing demands of the Palestinian cause and resolution of the occupied territories in the West Bank, which are critical matters, need to be put on hold during this war, with concrete assurances alongside of these being taken up beyond the present war. Here, important stakeholder countries from both sides would need to convey themselves as honest guarantors and brokers with ironclad guarantees of taking the Palestinian cause forward. This will, to some degree, help to strengthen the hands of the Palestinian Authority in convincing their population. Media of all hues is a powerful medium for creating convincing and favorable perceptions when intents and actions are genuine. One will have to wait out and see how either side plays out this game of winning perceptions. In my next video, I shall talk about strategic communication and messaging that are taking place and those which are exigent in this present conflict. For more on perception management and strategic communication, you may log on to our website marsmowonline.com. MARSMHOW online.com. Thank you.